What's up, my friends? Grim here. I hope you are so well today. We're playing Wurmrock again, my favorite deck in Premodern, but we're putting a fun twist on it today. This is Hypnotic Worm. We're going to get probably the most powerful black creature in all of Premodern in the deck here and now. And we're going to talk a little bit about why he doesn't usually see play, why I am choosing to test him, and the other cascading changes that flow from the decision to play hippie in this shell. So we'll go through all that. It's going to be great. I don't think this is a permanent pivot. I don't think I'm going to be necessarily on hippie all the time going forward, but I do want to get some testing in, probably 2 videos worth of testing actually, and then we'll have him the maybe board going forward. Or maybe he'll carve out a permanent place. We'll see how he does. But we'll talk about why play the hippie, why not to play the hippie as well, frankly, and all the other changes we'll be making as a consequence of hippie's presence today. Before we get into that, just thank you guys so much. Thanks for being here. Thank you for all the likes, the views, the comments, and all that good stuff. If you want to support the content in a direct way, in a way that may also benefit you, please do check out the description below, because we have Mana Traders and Mana Pool, both now sponsoring the content. If you're watching this video, you're probably playing Magic, right? In some way, shape, or form, you're probably either renting cards or buying physical cards. With Mana Traders, you can support this channel and get 40% off by using my affiliate link. And with Mana Pool, you can also use my affiliate link to buy yourself some beautiful paper and help out the channel. I do get a kickback from both of those. Thank you so much to anybody doing that. It means a lot. If you want to leave what are they called? Super thanks. We've got super thanks channel memberships and Patreon as well for those who'd like to donate directly. Thank you so much, guys, and let's talk about Hypnotic Worm. Alright, so 2 copies of Hippie are coming in, and that's where we begin making our changes. Now, to me, this guy is kind of equal parts threat and discard effect, so I'm not cutting 2 threats, and I'm not cutting 2 discard effects to make way. I believe it makes the most sense to cut 1 of each. So the wonderful Stupor that has performed really well for us is going to go by the wayside. I would rather have my early discard not make way for the hippie, and the more flexible Unburden can stay. We're also going to be making some changes to the mana base to accommodate double black more easily, so Unburden benefits from that a bit as well. So Unburden, of course, always can be cycled away if you've got too much discard. That's why I think it pairs better as our one of from among Unburden and Stupor alongside the hippies. And as for the threat, we'll begin by cutting Bane of the Living. I haven't seen this card enough for me to feel any type of way about it, positive or negative. We're just going to cut it for now because it's a little bit of a fringe, higher curve threat, and one that kind of actually non-bows with Hypnotic Specter as well. So those are 2 pretty easy cuts. But before we go on to our other changes, let's talk about why hippie doesn't really tend to see play in Wurmrock. Alright, so as powerful as hippie is, he is Dark Ritual's best friend. You do typically want Ritual in the deck if you want hippie. If you don't want one or the other for some reason, you might want to revisit whether you want the remaining half of that lovely pairing, right? And that's not to say that you can never play hippie without Ritual. We're doing that today. I'm not going to add Dark Ritual as part of these changes, believe me. So, but it is to say that hippie, as good as he is sometimes going to be just a 2/2 for 3. He ends up on chump duty or trading with a 1-drop or whatever. Sometimes he's going to be a little too slow to matter. Now, often he can be part of a good, fair game, but you probably want at least some of your matches to involve a turn 1 hippie, or at least the potential for such. So why would we consider him here if we're not going to give ourselves that option? Well, it's because it is, as a role player, a very strong option. It is very high card quality, and that is kind of the theme of our list, as we do have very high card quality from our threats. It's different from Rotting Giant, but it is probably higher card quality overall, right? So we are hoping to split the difference here, to have hippie be part of the depletion, attrition, and aggro plan without being all in on him. That's part of why we're only playing 2 copies, and as mentioned, that's also why we're not playing Dark Ritual. Now, I did mention we're making some changes to the land base to accommodate this guy, as well as some other spells. Again, we have Infest still here. We have the double black from Graveborn Muse and Unburden, right? So we are going to try a full shift to what I consider kind of an extreme end of how the mana bases can look, we're going to pick up a full 3 extra copies of Tainted Wood to have the play set. This makes me wince a little bit in terms of the math and the stats and everything that goes into it, but we cut a forest to make way for that, and we're just going to play without our polluted deltas as well. So this is a land base you will see Wurmrock pilots on. You've got 4 treetop, 4 Tainted Wood, 4 Landy Waste, 10 swamp, and 1 forest. You may also see no forest at all, you know? You might see an 11th swamp or a singleton fetch land. We're going to leave 1 forest in there. It's nice to have access to that when people are letting you fetch basics, at least for various reasons. But yeah, we are going to hopefully not run too far afoul of all of these Tainted Woods, and if we don't, then it is an extremely strong and consistent and coherent and relatively pain-free land base. Next change is going to involve us adding 1 more copy of the Rack and cutting a copy of Curse Scroll. These are changes that are, I think, kind of reasonable in a vacuum. The Rack is likely to be better in multiples than Scroll is anyway, so if you're kind of on the fence of that, I think this is a fine baseline configuration. The Rack is really good. Scroll is really good, it's just a little bit more situational, and with hippies coming into the fold, I think adding a Rack, cutting a Scroll, that's a nice clean change. So remember that we brought in 2 hippies and we cut 1 creature and 1 non-creature spell to make way for them. That slants us a little more toward the aggro side of things. Then you add in the Rack for scroll change, that slants us that little bit more toward the aggro side of things. So with that in mind, I think we do have the freedom to cut a Rotting Giant, and I'm going to do that. We're still playing 1. I think it's still kind of a good way to pad out the ranks, so to speak. But remember, we're also not playing Polluted Delta this time, so not as much fuel for the Giant. So that's an easy enough cut, and we're going to go ahead and add a 3rd Funeral Charm to the main deck. We still have 1 on the side, so we've got 4 in the 75. That's not really probably my final form of what would become maybe the HYPNOWURM or whatever variant of Wurmrock, right? But it is good filler. And I don't mean that in kind of a pejorative way. I mean that like, if you're not really sure what to do, playing another Funeral Charm actually makes a ton of sense, especially alongside that 3rd copy of the Wreck. Now, I am loath to go to the sideboard, my friends, but we have to. We have to do the unthinkable. We have to cut Hidden Gibbons. I really hate to do this because this card is so along our game plan, it's unreal. It's been an overperformer for me. But having made these changes to the land base, we have almost no ability to consistently get this going on turn 1, and even somewhat limited ability to get it down on turn 2. And if you're not doing it in the first couple turns, its utility falls off a cliff. I hate to lose it because it's been, as I say, so good, but if we are making these other changes, it's a good time to try living without it, right? And it does at least help us by having Funeral Charm as a 4 of in the 75. Why? Well, I think Hidden Gibbons is pretty important in terms of beating Sly and Dreadnought, and Funeral Charm is definitely alive against both of those decks, so you know you'll have a critical mass of things to do. Might not be quite as powerful, but you at least are respecting those matchups that do get worse with Gibbons going down. And also Funeral Charm against control decks where Gibbons is pretty good definitely has a lot to do in matchups like that, I would say. So to that end, in addition to having access to all those charms, I think at least one of the 2 cards that come in for the Gibbons should do work in both of those matchups, and that is a Diabolic Edict. It's a little boring, but it's a really fun one. It gives us access to, of course, a critical mass of removal in general. It is really good against Dreadnought. It is totally fine against Sly. So I like that as one of our sideboard cards, and the other one actually does not come in against Dreadnought or Sly, and that's Compost. And the reason I'm playing that here is because I actually meant to add that to my deck last time and just forgot to, LOL. So Compost, better late than never. I think it's actually a really good idea in general, if it makes sense, to have one card that is a good one to bring in mid-range mirrors. You do see a fair amount of them. One card dedicated to these can go a long way, and Compost is actually a pretty sickeningly good card in the context of our shell and in the context of those matchups. So there we go, guys. We've got a little bit of Hypnotic Worm here for you today. Those are the changes. Let's let it rip. Let's have some fun playing Hypnotic Specter alongside Tempting Worm. What do you say? All right, we like the keep. We like the keep. We like good luck, have fun exchanges from initiated by OP, and we like OP mulling to 5 as well. This all seems kind of good. So, not knowing what we're up against and with the OP mulling to 5, I actually think I'm leading on Treetop Village here. This is going to give us the most options, I think, for turn 2. And it will be hard to go wrong. Blackmail. Alright. So, let's show them. Interesting. Swamp Blackmail. What don't we want them to... We probably don't want them to take, certainly, the land. I'm going to value Smother as well, who knows. So I'm going to show them Unburden, Furnace, and Rotting Giant. Give them a nice selection of things they care about. Or don't care about. And they're all kind of different, so that's really not where you want to be. They do take the Furnace. Fascinating. Huh. Another Treetop Village. Yeah, I'm going to get the Rotting Giant down. We should be able to keep the graveyard topped off for the foreseeable, so let's just start clocking. Oh, I see. Putrid Imp. Got it. Well, that makes sense. Graveborn Muse. Not live yet. Could definitely be in the near future. Alright, we get in for 3. I guess we are supposed to be smothering and funeral charming these two Putrid Imps against a Reanimator deck. They probably don't have other great targets. So sure, let's go ahead and smother one during attacks. Got Diabolic Edict rolled up. That's incredible. Nice. Okay. So I like the Funeral Charm just main phase to see if they have anything to pitch before we decide what to do. So nothing is pitched. We get in for 3. And now there's not a huge incentive. I mean, there's cards like Cabal Therapy they probably play, but I think it is correct to cycle Unburden main phase here in case of another Treetop Village, potentially. It could happen. We could get the 3rd one, but we don't. So we have Call of the Herd. It's just a good proactive card. Here, we've got that Edict rolled up. I have another Putrid Imp. We got a Curse Scroll, huh? Alright. So I think we are probably supposed to actually to Edict here. I know it puts off our clock a bit. Alright. Maybe not so much on the Edict, because they do pitch, and then are they maybe chump blocking here? Right, got it. So very nice, actually, not to have to do that. Here's a Call of the Herd, pass to you. So we might be against full-on Dragon Reanimator, which is obviously a super cool one. They've got Chainer's Edict. Alright, good job, Rotting Giant. Good job. You began the clock, and now you absorb the edict for the less graveyard-hungry elephant. Another treetop village is hilarious. I sensed it coming. I knew it was close. So we can't flashback Call of the Herd. Second best thing here is to just send in the apes. Unfortunately, we don't have lethal on field, but we are getting there, and with an edict in the back pocket, we kinda never didn't have it, so nice to take game 1, of course, against Reanimator. Alright guys, there are so many cards that we could cut and that we can play. I think we are supposed to sideboard very heavily. Crypt, Totem, I guess, shuts off the imps. I don't know if it's really worth playing, but we definitely want Crypt, Gaia's Blessing, Compost, and I think all of our enchantment removal for Animate Dead, if nothing else, plus whatever else they might have going on. Diabolic Edict is going to be better than a lot of other things, and probably Vendetta as well. It's a little more sketchy. And then we've got, like, Curse Scroll is just going to be too slow. And then we've got to cut some of these non-targeted discard effects, our randomized ones. We just have too many discard in general, right? Plus Smother could go as well. So I guess I'm going to leave Smothers in, actually. We could play Engineered Plague, might be a little slow. I guess I'd rather just kill the imps than shut off their ability. And we will have a couple Funeral Charm left over from the discard effects, plus all of our main deck Cabal Therapies and Duresses. We've got that Unburden still in there. But I think playing without Hippie makes sense here. And if they show us any kind of unexpected payoff, of course, then Soul Rend could come in as well, but I think we might be against, again, that good old-fashioned Dragon Reanimator. So let's keep. It'll be hilarious to Duress and then see whether we can risk the Tempting Worm the following turn. But obviously opening on Duress is sick. And that's what we'll do. Opponent mulls to 5 and goes Swamp Pass. Duress you. Phyrexian Arena. And Life Death along with Rorik's Bladewing. Cool. So, not playing the Worm anytime soon. I guess we'll take the Life Death. We have a lot of outs to the arena. In all reality, we'll probably just Cabal Therapy it away next turn. But we are respecting their main game plan here, right? Okay, Therapy of the Arena, they have double Bladewing in hand. Message received. So, no Tempting Worm, probably at all this game. Sorry, guy. You're the MVP, you're the man, but sometimes you just gotta let the elephants loose, and that's what we'll do. We've got all the beats rolled up. Not using Cabal Therapy anytime soon here. And a Naturalize in the back pocket. Good. Good, good, good. The clock begins. We get in for 3, maybe? Smother. Got it. Okay. Not exactly breaking my heart with that one, but it is some decent action for them. No doubt. Innocent Blood. Okay, well, the dragons stay in hand. We're winning the attrition war that we didn't really know we needed to win, I guess. And we've got a Tormod's Crypt as well. Nice. So there is actually a little scope, I guess, not to play it, but we still should, because they have discard spells Of course, in addition to whatever ways they might have to remove enchantments and artifacts, and being potentially strictly black-red, those might be in relatively short supply. They got Mountain for turn. We got Swamp for turn. Now the clock begins. There we go. All right, 17. Over to you. They got a Tormod's Crypt of their own. Yeah, that's a bit of a tilt. That for them, that comes a bit too late to tangle with the back half of either one of our Call of the Herds. All right, Gaia's Blessing. So we do now certainly have the line of attack all out, therapy away the Blade Wings, and then clear them out with Crypt. It's not the most necessary thing in the world because they are just dead on board, but if we do that, we then get to play the Tempting Worm as well, which has got to be pretty darn good, right? Alright, I'm just going to play it extra safe in main phase the Tormod's Crypt. I'm not familiar enough with what, if anything, they have that could punish us for not doing that. Probably very little. We're probably supposed to just hold on to that until the perfectly opportune moment, but it is very hard to lose from this position. So if they can come up with another Innocent Blood or Smother, the game may go on. Innocent Blood, in fact, would not even be enough. And more importantly, we got the Worm on the field. That's the whole strategy, is you've got to respect the Worm, and that is good enough. Nice little 2-0 against OP. Alright. I see lands and spells, and one of the spells is Duress. I've got to keep it. Alright, we got to keep it. This is a sweet-looking hand, actually, on the play in the blind. We get to charm we get to charm a dork if that is what OP's up to. We get to hippie on curve. Very nice. So we are against Astral Slide. And we will be just taking the namesake card. Alright, so they do get to Mox Diamond out a Wall of Roots if that is a desire. Alright, that is indeed the play. So their hand is Eternal Dragon, Renewed Faith, One Unknown. And I actually think now's kind of a good time to Funeral Charm, because it's really not going to get that much better. Like, they do have Recursion off Eternal Dragon, but they may really want to Plane Cycle this, right? So I'm going to go ahead and main phase a Charm, and drop a Treetop, and we'll say go. Turn 3, you'll be Tainted Wood into Hippie, unless we draw anything more compelling. Which, I don't really know what that would be. Maybe, like, Unburden would be better. We'll find out. Might just picture Renewed Faith here. Yep, they do. Wall of Blossoms, alright. Yeah, these walls are definitely good blockers against a lot of our stuff, but that's all the more reason to play a hippie. Fly right over. Ravenous Rats? Yeah, we'll take it. It's a good one. It's a good one for next turn. Turn 3 belongs to the hippie. Does not look like any natural land drops have materialized for the opponent. I am surprised to see them having not plane cycled last turn, because they could have begun with the plane cycling and then used a Wall of Roots counter to play Wall of Blossoms, right? but this turn that's what they'll do, and then they say go. Alright, we get a Spark Spray out of there, so they are playing red as well. We'll go Ravenous Rats here, and then we'll say go. Can't remember what video it was, but one of my last handful of videos I played against green-white Astral Slide for the first time ever, and they were straight green-white as far as I could tell. I've seen much more frequently the Lightning Rift red-white version. This appears to be, of course, all three colors, and Ravenous Rats has taken another Spark Spray out of there. I'll cycle Secluded Step as well. All with the trigger still on the stack. And then it's just Windswept Heath. Alright. So we've been depleting nicely. They obviously don't have an engine online, but they've seen a lot of new cards. They could easily find the namesake card, and then we are going to be begging for our one of Naturalize off the top or what have you. Another Eternal Dragon. Yeah, so we also have to try to get them dead before these dragons start coming back, right? Ravenous Rats? Yeah. Not all that exciting, is it? But we are at least going a little wide here. I'm going to bluff attack with the Treetop Village, because we are a Funeral Charm deck. They've already seen that. They may just maybe get spooked out of a block. Probably not, but you never know. Alright, they are not spooked, but the hippie connects. Or does he? Well, he does. Then they cycle Tranquil Thicket. Is the fine that goes down? Yeah, I'm gonna hang on to the rats. We'll just use it. Some other time with these dragons around, it'll be live at some point. We'll just kind of time walk them that way. It's not going to be any card advantage, and Duress, therefore, is a pretty terrible draw, of course, but hey. Alright, our bluff attack already didn't work once, so let's not goof around with that. We're in for 2. And back it goes. So now do they spend their upkeep doing the dragon thing? They do. Alright. Makes sense for sure, but now possibly the Duress will be live. We're gonna try it. It's probably not getting any better than this, right? Nope, Wall of Blossoms, okay. So we'll play the rats, we knock the dragon out. They're valuing the wall, which does make sense against our slightly wider board. I guess we're holding the swamp in hand to conceal information. But there is no escape for your hand. Either way, 2 cards, 2 non-targeted, or non-specific, rather, discard effects. Lightning Rift off the top. Yep, that's a good one. Rewards them big time for not buying back the dragon for their turn. We got Tempting Worm. That's a good one, too. So now we can get in for 1. If we all-out attack here. So they're at 8. And when I say 1, I of course mean an extra 1 on top of the wonderful damage of the hippie, and just the attrition, the value, the evasion, the clock. Like, hippie is at its best when you have Dark Ritual in your deck, but in a lot of matchups in a deck like ours, it will be totally respectable, right? Opponent once again does not buy back the dragon, and they find a Wall of Roots for their turn. Well, we got just a swamp off the top, huh? Hate to see that one. A lot of our action cards, of which we are still flush, would have been pretty much lights out here. Just the swamp is not exciting, as mentioned, but opponent's going to have to throw away a whole lot of their board here. Turn on turn, losing 1 thing minimum, taking 3 damage as things stand. They don't really have the luxury to buy back the dragon, so the value game is off the table for now. And it's game 2. Alright, so it was not the cleanest win, but we did enough. For sure we did enough. Okay, so we're going to encounter a situation where we definitely want to play the Naturalizes in the Tranquil Domain, we definitely want to play Tormod's Crypt and Gaia's Blessing, and we have the potential to play all of these removal spells as well, none of which would be really that bad, but we don't really have bad cards to bring out, per se. Alright, so I'm going to cut a Rotting Giant. It's a little poor against their walls. I'm going to change Smother out for some different types of removal. I think that's fine. Trimming 1 copy of the rack makes sense here, and we really don't have to play with a lot of these effects that are still in the maybe board category, but we can. It's not the worst idea to consider, like, is there such a thing as too much discard here? And I think the answer is potentially yes. So no other Funeral Charm. Let's just play without most of these cards. They're a little more situational. Well, maybe Vendetta's pretty good, actually. We'll cut 1 hippie, even though it was really good there. I'm going to cut the Graveborn Muse as well. Just seems a little slow, and it's like a 4-drop that, again, gets stonewalled by Wall of Blossoms pretty bad. I don't know if they're like on Wrath of God with this red splash. They might really not be, but totally fine keep. Swamp and Tainted Wood. If you've only got 2 lands, you probably want it to be those 2. Opponent not down on the Maul to 5. We do have Cabal Therapy, Funeral Charm, Naturalize. We've got so many good effects. This could even be a situation where you want to play Tempting Worm on turn 2, but without hand information, them getting an Eternal Dragon down is not great, right? So, probably not going to do that. Phyrexian Furnace, huh? Yeah, I think I like that here. We might therapy for Astral Slide next turn, we'll see. Wall of Roots, sure. Just gonna try to keep the graveyard totally clear. Alright, Llanowar Wastes, huh? Alright, yeah, let's therapy for Slide. They've got Plow, Dragon, and a Plains. I see. Well, I like a main phase Funeral Charm, then. Alright, they lose the Plow. It's pretty good for us with Call of the Herd coming down the pipeline. They have a land for turn as well, huh? Alright, here's an elephant. Pass to you. And they will cycle the dragon. So unless they find an out to the furnace, we're pretty happy about that one. And they're just conceding. We're presenting a little bit too much on every axis. It's not like we had an overwhelmingly strong progression by any means, but we do take advantage of the Mold of 5 by just being a well-rounded, proactive mid-range deck that happened to draw Phyrexian Furnace for the first draw step. Love to see it. Alright, we will keep, and we will hope. We're hoping, above all, that the life total doesn't matter all that much, and or that we find a swamp right away. We're against Counterburn, so the... Oh no, I'm sorry, Kyrian Dryad. Okay. So more like Groatog. So the life total does indeed matter. I was going to take the Lightning Bolt for now. With that in mind. We've got a nice early curve out against them. Again, hitting a swamp off the top would be just pure perfection. Their draw for turn was a Polluted Delta, which they use to go grab an island. They don't shuffle with Portent, and we do not. Hit a pain-free land, unfortunately. So our depletion game is going to be really strong. We're just doing, again, a little bit too much of the work for comfort for the opponent in terms of that life total, but... Alright, we knock a Nimble Mongoose out of their hand with the rat, so that is pretty good. They found another one. Interesting. Alright, we got a Funeral Charm. Seems quite usable here. Let's get in with a rat. Play another one. And we'll say go. Alright, they're going for an opt. Sure. Alright, here comes that Kyrian Dryad, so... Alright, they do have sleight of hand, so now's a good chance to use the Funeral Charm. If not, we could have checked the hand first. Next turn with the Duress, but... in this case, in either case, we're kind of prioritizing a nice, clean answer to the Dryad. So while last turn we could have led on Duress and then gone Rats from there, that would have been fine. I'm going to say no block for one turn. Cabal Therapy. Yeah. Yeah, not a good draw, is it? Let's use the Duress here, I guess. Counterspell. Alright, well. At least both are hitting. Therapy, of course. Gonna take that other Kyrian Dryad. So, you know, I stand corrected. It's a decent draw. It's just... it's not necessarily what we wanted or needed to see. Of course, Diabolic Edict is our best play there. but we'll get in with 1 rat. We're going to go in chump block mode. Okay, Werebear is a 4/4. We're gonna need more chumping where that came from. That's an incredible draw from the opponent. Feels like that one's gonna bury us. Unless unless we find a 5/5. Let's go. Let's go. Tempting worm, dude. Tempting worm. Should, I suppose, have left the Lanny Wastes untapped rather than the Grey Land in order to bluff Funeral Charm, but there's no way they're testing the Worm's metal here. And we get a rack off the top? Let's go, man. Alright, a couple of super hype draws. Oh, this is so good. This is so good. Still anybody's game. But, yeah. We've done a lot so far, even before these 2 hype draws. It's just a matter of, again, the awkwardness of the pain lands and, you know, some nice threat density off the top from the opponent. But now we're making stuff happen. Yeah, Llanowar Wastes, I mean, sure, why not? Let's go to 8. And we'll put a painful thing on the field. I think we're still supposed to stay back, though. We'll be turning the corner pretty quick when we turn it, right? And the rack is keeping the life totals relatively even. Another Werebear. Got it. Phyrexian Furnace, and there's a swamp. Took you long enough. Okay. Gonna lead on the Furnace. Instantly cracking it. We just don't have time to play that game. Oh, we got another one. That's fine. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think I'm supposed to keep this around for a minute. And we'll see what happens. Remember, we do have the Cabal Therapy in our own bin. Potentially an interesting flashback with rats. But we might need them as chumpers here before all is said and done. Alright, so they put another card in the bin with Sleight of Hand. They're representing yet another card on top of that with Wooded Foothills, so I think I am supposed to just crack the Furnace here on the end step. Got a Smother. It's a good one. Call of the Herd and Call of the Herd. Got it. All right, it is time. They're not representing Counterspell. It's time to attack with a Tempting Worm here. Gotta start getting him dead. And or chewing through the board. Alright, double block, not unexpected. Let's go for a Smother on one of them. Nice. Alright, cool. Now I get to make an elephant. We could Cabal Therapy now for a counterspell. Opponent's just going to go to game 2. Interesting consideration. I might have leaned against doing that anyway, but we get there regardless. So there's a ton of cards that we could play against this strategy, but if you look at our main deck, there's really nothing that's that bad, or even bad, period, right? So on the draw, Graveborn Muse was great there, but I think I might cut a hippie, and cut like one Cabal Therapy. We could definitely also like shave a Duress here and play like, I don't know, Curse Totem has text. I think we're supposed to get Gaia's Blessing in here though before anything else, so I'm gonna probably cut a Duress as well. It's not that the discard is bad by any means, it's that, again, like playing to answer the board is totally reasonable. And yeah, we'll leave one hippie, one unburden, I guess. We could even play, just like, get a little leaner and meaner, play a 4th Funeral Charm, try an Engineered Plague, those things are fine. We've already lowered the curve, though, a little bit with the changes that we are making, so I'm going to go ahead and leave it like this. Alright, looks like a solid keep. We don't necessarily have the fuel for our 1-of Giant, but it is a good card in the matchup. And I believe we'll be giving them a wide variety of problems here just simply by curving out. Opponent keeping 7, leading on Limble, yeah. Nimble Mongoose, that's a very good start. Diabolic Edict is a nice find, though, you can be sure of that. But we'll lead on that Curse Scroll, and we'll see what they've got in store for us. Will they go Werebear here? Or something similar, like a Dryad, or are they just going to pass holding up potential permission? Right, just going to pass. So I think we jam Rotting Giant here. It's a little strange without anything in the graveyard right now, but you know it's going to come online as the game goes on, and it is going to be, again, I think a good card in the matchup. Yep, Mana Leak. Sure. And as I was going to say, I also, at the same time, having said all that, I might be a little less sad to get that countered than certain other things. So we'll see how it all goes for us. But hope he goes Kyrian Dryad. They're holding up City of Brass. Yeah, Diabolic Edict would be looking good here, but I think I just like Call of the Herd. Alright, OP with the Lightning Bolt. This is getting a little scary. They're getting closer to Threshold. They're obviously just grew the Dryad as well. It's good value for us, so we hope that they're like just about out of gas here. But they will go fetch into Opt. Opting to the top. Yeah. Sleight of hand. Okay, okay. And definitely not out of gas. Really cool to see this strategy go off, and I think I called it Groatog. Well, first I called it Counterburn at first glance, looking at just the Duressables. And then I called it Groatog, but really it's like it's a more aggressively slanted version. It's just kind of a Threshold deck with Kyrian Dryad more than anything else. So yeah, Werebear at the end of all that is definitely real scary, but Smother is an incredible draw. So we just need to main phase a couple of kill spells here, and hope their last card isn't Daze, I guess. So we're smothering Dryad for sure. it's a Diabolic Edict. Down goes the Werebear. Sweet. Alright, we're at 8 OP with 2 in hand. We've got to stop on our upkeep for the Curse Scroll. That's not the most relevant right now, and a Tempting Worm off the top at just the right time. Let's go. Let's go. Do we play around Mana Leak, or do we get the Treetop Village down? I think Tempting Worm is so hard for their deck to answer that we play around the Mana Leak, but you could certainly go either way here. We do get the upside, though, of a guaranteed Curse Scroll hit, so I think that makes it well worth it to play around Mana Leak. With all due respect to the Great Ape Village. Man, just how good is Tempting Worm in this deck? This is a great example of it being a late game play, and the fact that it's still only 2 mana being highly relevant. Again, playing around Mana Leak and making Curse Scroll usable, both simply because it's such a low cost. And of course, the whole reason it's good is that it's just a 5/5, right? To state the obvious. Alright, end step scroll you. Hit the life total a little bit. Again, when we turn the corner, we turn it so quickly. Definitely not upkeeping this because we've got a Call of the Herd in the bin, plus whatever we draw for turn, which is Vendetta. It's a good one in the matchup. It's not live right now, though. Call of the Herd sure is, though. Incredible find. Opponent's got a Lightning Bolt. They do have to point it at the board. That is, I mean, when we're at 8, I guess we don't mind that, right? Naturalizing Scroll, sure. They're doing a lot of good things, but nothing that solves their main problem, right? Guy's Blessing. Yeah, we might as well lead on that, I think. And normally I'd be just chunking their graveyard, but they have 12 cards in there, right? So I think I'm actually supposed to put the kill spells and I guess the Curse Scroll back in the deck here. Interesting. We find a forest, so sort of like the Treetop Village attack here. Keep the worm back on blocking duty. And after connecting, it's back to OP. They have another Nimble Mongoose. Uh-oh. Oh boy. Bit scary, a bit scary. Oh, they're sending in. Oh. Okay, I didn't think that would happen this turn. Let's see what they've got. Could easily be a fire or a bolt. Yep. Yep, definitely rough stuff here. But again, they've had to point a lot at the board. We're still in it. Ravenous Rats is not what we want to see at all. But as a chumper, it'll have to do. So we're chumping one Mongoose, we're trading Treetop with the other. We're hoping they don't have more threats and more burn, which is kind of unlikely. We gotta find another Tempting Worm off the top, or a Diabolic Edict, something like this. And they've got a Werebear. Got it. Okay, so we can Vendetta that and go to 1. Let's just see what we draw first before we do anything so drastic. It's a swamp. We are dead. Might as well not show them about the Vendetta. And let's go to game 3. Alright, so on the play, I'm just going to try to catch them lacking a little bit with their stuff being X1s a little bit more, so I'm going to bring in an Engineered Plague and actually the 4th Funeral Charm, and we're just going to cut a Cabal Therapy and a Duress, and we're playing even more to answer the board, but of course Charm can deplete as well. Again, you could play a lot of different things. You could get the Graveborn Muse back in. I don't hate a lot of it. I don't hate a lot of what we have access to. We have like 70 good cards in the matchup for our 75, right? That's how I see it. But I think this is a good configuration. Let's see if we can get there. We will not be getting there with a no-lander. Well, that's a bad start. Let's mulligan. And this is a totally fine 2-lander. Opponent has mulled as well. You'll love to see that. So it's a keeper, and the only question is what to pitch. It's just kind of like a fantastic all-around hand. So I think we've got to lose either Rotting Giant or Curse Scroll. I'm gonna lose Rotting Giant. I think it is really good in the matchup, so I'm not sure that's correct. I'm going to lose Curse Scroll. I think a 2-mana 3/3 is pretty darn good here. And 1 fail rate of this hand is, of course, just not hitting lands, or not hitting them in a timely fashion. That leaves Call of the Herd on the bench. So I think basically, like, if we don't hit our lands, we'll be happy we kept the Giant, and if we do hit our lands, like, the Parade of 3/3s should hopefully be good enough. We've got the Rack. Okay. That plays. Let's lead on Ravenous Rats. We're knocking an island out of there. We really hope they just, like, tap out for a Dryad here. Or a Werebear would be fine. We just want them to present a Vendetta target. Failing that, we want to hit, like, Tainted Wood for turn. I think the Nightmare might be Nimble Mongoose number 2 after this portent. We've got so many good draws. We do still have some discard effects left in the deck. We got a lot to like here. Funeral Charm. Sure. So let's play the Rack and say go, holding up Vendetta and Charm. Alright, OP going for the Kyrian Dryad. Fascinating. So now, it is pretty risky to try to kill her with Funeral Charm. I would love to, because I would love to obviously have another kill spell rolled up for something else. But we're just going to Funeral Charm to discard on the end step. And then they have to make that decision without knowing that we're going to untap and kill the Dryad. We get AK, sure. We get a 3rd land, sure. Seems really good. Cast a Vendetta. Swing for one with the old rats. Then we'll play a Rotting Giant. They could have, like, Lightning Bolt here to kill the Giant, and then they have a free attack with Mongoose with Bolt plus one other spell on their turn, and that's exactly what it is. So that was the risk of attacking with rats, but then again, like, we have the Rack. So, like, the rats chipping in in addition to the rack damage, is a good way to race even a threshold Nimble Mongoose. So I really kind of like that attack either way, but not if their not if their 7th card is naturalized. That's pretty rough. But hey, guys, we got the 3rd land where Call of the Herd is online. Life is good. Yeah, life is good. Life is good. So we're swinging back with the rats. I don't love the draw swamp, obviously. Like, if we've got to hit a 4th land, it should really be a painless green or some source of utility or something, right? But hey. Our position's pretty solid overall. We at least have guaranteed the flashback next turn. An opponent just getting wrecked by these cities of brass here. I do find a Kyrian Dryad. That's a real good one. Llanowar Waste's a frustrating draw. But we are the aggressor. Let's get in with the elephant while the coast is quite clear for such things. Alright, trading, well, maybe, yes, no, maybe so, no, okay. Alright, here's our elephant number 2. Alright, they've got nothing, we've got a treetop village. So, like, all we have access to are 3/3s, right? So we have to just kind of assume that the Kyrian Dryad is not going to outscale the 3/3s this turn. If they have perfection at instant speed, so be it. We cannot really afford to play around that, because the longer the game goes on, the more likely it is for, like, an average draw for them to get there in that regard, right? So let's go ahead and get in. Yeah, they got a lightning bolt. It's obviously a good one. And then the mongoose trade, sure. So here's a treetop village, which is going to keep them honest at least. So, you know, we traded favorably there for sure. We probably don't want to test the waters now with a treetop attack, but obviously we'll see what we draw. Maybe we still do. Okay, with Smother around, yeah, we do. Yeah, we do. And I think in case of exactly Mana Leak, we're just going to main phase it and see what happens. Counterspell. Yep. Okay. It's obviously a very good last card for them in that spot, but we are still able to attack, which is really nice. Opponent takes it, they're at 2. I understand why. I find Werebear. Yeah. Scary. Scary stuff. But they have to hang back. Got it. Alright, show us a tempting worm. We call the shot, let's go! We see your 4/4. We see your 4/4 and we raise you. We raise you. Just by a little bit. Holy moly. It feels good to be a shot caller. The game's certainly not over, but that was a pretty good one. That was a pretty good find, and so is Call of the Herd off the top. Oh my word. Alright. Swing out. Honestly, the Werebear outsizes our treetops and Call of the Herds anyway, so it's probably safer to just kill the Werebear. Probably better overall. Yeah. So we should be able to go wide enough, of course, to win here. We do have lethal on board as things stand. They got another werebear, so never mind. But we've got more gas, of course, where that came from in the bin. And we will once again play around Mana Leak by showing that otherwise pretty useless land. And we will be judicious here with our life total, because we're not using the Treetop Village on blocking duty this turn anyway. So we're just going nice and wide, trying to present lethal. OP with an AK off the top, definitely a good one. But the Cities of Brass are going to have them somewhat locked out. There's a Painful Fetch land as well. So if they cast any spell or do anything, even the Ravenous Rats connecting is lethal. So I think we're supposed to swing all out here, even if we draw a brick for a turn off the top. Nimble Mongoose, okay. Well, that's a really good one, but they are at 1, so again, even the Rats connecting is lethal. So unless they have some kind of a free spell, they're dead. We got Tempting Worm for backup in case they do. Alright, send it in. Send him in. Can't lose with a worm on your side, and that is the match. Great games, well played, super close, really fun. Man, I love Wurmrock so much. Didn't really see the hippie side of things, so this was more like a classic Wurmrock progression. Super cool deck from the OP. And we get there. Alright. Alright, lands and spells, you know, reasonable keep, I would say, in the blind. Findhorn Elves. Okay, so I guess we need to Cabal Therapy naming Survival of the Fittest here. We whiff big time. Okay, we're against Fires without a red source, so they have Triple Forest, Fires of Yavimaya, and Horned Kavu. But they rip Call of the Herd for turn? Yikes. But hey, we get a nice clean Phyrexian Furnace activation to answer the back half, so we'll take that. I was gearing up for a smother. We gotta do that instead, I think. Ah, they find red as well right away. That's unfortunate. Definitely, that was a significant fail rate, I would say, of their deck, and they go Fires. Cannot quite play the Kavu as well. We take 4. Now, this is interesting, because if we smother the Findhorn Elves, then Horned Kavu's really bad. Alright, well, Treetop Village go. Ah, Birds of Paradise. Yeah, so now they have a nice safe out. We don't get the blowout. We don't get the smother blowout. No fun. Alright, we'll let this resolve here. And then we'll just smother the Kavu itself, of course. 3-4, a little better against treetops than a 3-3. They can blow out our attempted block with Fires of Yavimaya. But let's just draw a Tempting Worm and make all this irrelevant. What do you say? I don't think I activate Furnace here. The free activation, that is. Birds come back down. Alright, let's draw a little action. We're just so flooded, it's crazy. Yeah, Duress, that stings, man. You hate to see it, so let us crack Furnace. If we use our Swamp to do it... If we use our Swamp to do it and we draw a Hippie, we're punished. Most other things don't punish us, and Hippie's not even good here. So, yeah, I'll crack it. Using the Swamp, we're valuing the painlessness of a treetop activation, and if we're just gonna draw lands and duresses against a, like, dummy aggro deck, then then that's not gonna be good enough. Spoiler alert, not gonna get there. Sapperling Burst, wow. Uh-huh. Pretty cool. Yeah. We're giving him the concession here. Well and truly defeated. Definitely unlucky, but it can happen. Alright guys, I'm not terribly experienced against this deck, but 13 of our 15 sideboard cards could theoretically come in. If there's a white splash we don't know about, make that 14, right? So I'm just going to have to pick and choose a few that are better than the others. We're going to have to take a good hard look at the main deck, because it's really not like we have very many bad cards to begin with. I'm going to cut Graveborn Muse. I'm going to probably just cut these discard effects entirely. I mean, like, no duress, no therapy, no hippie. Maybe we just play with rats and one unburden. And that lets us have maximal outs to the board and maximal threat density, graveyard hate. Probably, like, Curse Totem seems pretty good here, but if we are able to get Funeral Charm, Vendetta, Edict, Plagues, Infest all in, then I guess we don't really need Totem to shut off their dorks, right? So if we do all that, we only need to make 3 more cuts. We'll play without Infest, I guess. We'll play without Tormod's Crypt. And then just one more. I guess only 2 Naturalize plus 1 Tranquil Domain is fine. We could cut our own Sylvan Library to remove the non-bow prospect, maybe to help blank some of their such effects, and although that latter isn't really a concern with how many we have post-side, and all that, but I think the 1 of Library is fine here, and I think our hand is fine as well. It's not, like, the most exciting hand in the world. We don't have the luxury, I don't think, of playing out Tempting Worm without hand information in this matchup. But that's alright. Call of the Herd's going to be really good on the play. We'll have the rack looming like the Sword of Damocles over this match. And we'll have Treetop Village to match their Treetop Village, Call of the Herd to match their Call of the Herds, and then Tempting Worm to hopefully be the trump card here. Findhorn Elves, eh? Alright. Here's a Call of the Herd. Pass to you. Alright, they've got a Lightning Bolt for it. Yeah, sideboarding here is really interesting. Looking at our 75 makes me think we have a good matchup, but the way their deck plays makes me think that, like, strategically we kind of don't have a great matchup. Blastoderm. Yeah, okay. Definitely a little scary. We got Naturalized. Maybe we have to play double Tempting Worm in the face of that Blasty. What do you think? I think probably we do. I think probably we just go for it. We'll play at least 1. See what they do, and then we can naturalize, you know, Sapperling Burst if they put that in, or whatever. Let's just see what happens. They might put in a Fires, who knows. But Blastoderm is such a good beater that I feel we've got to press the, oh god. Oh god. Double Fires. And a Sylvan Library. I see. What do we do now? Oh boy. Well, yeah, we just put another Tempting Worm in, I guess. So now the rack is triggering. Now we have a good double block on Blastoderm that they can't blow out with Fires. Unfortunately, they get a turn with the Sylvan Library here. Don't love that. Wow, they're at 9. Okay, they just went sicko mode. True, too. That can't be good for us, right? I mean, I know they have a little bit of mitigation because they would be taking rack damage, you know, whatever. Like, that just seriously can't be good for us. So they make an elephant token. I wonder if they have, like, a lightning bolt here to make their attacks really tricky to handle. I sense they might. I'm still going to double block Blasty and take 3. They fires the Tempting Worm. That cannot have been correct, but we'll take it. Yeah. I don't think that might have been a misclick. I think it's more like, okay, you got me. Have a buff. Alright, so yeah, I mean, again, we could easily play with the 4th Naturalize effect. We could easily have, like, a discard spell or 2 in here in addition to the ones we have. Maybe on the draw, we've got to cut a Plague or 2. We'll get the Naturalize back in. I'm gonna cut 2 Plagues on the draw. We're gonna put 1 Duress and 1 Naturalize in off the bench. I think that's pretty good. And maybe even, like, Infest is actually better than the final E-Plague if we're switching them out. I'm going to try that. Alright, this is pretty solid for a 2-lander, I guess. We will keep it. It's a little clunky being 2 lands and having double Furnace, but we won't really complain. OP is on the mall. We're probably supposed to charm any dork they present T1. If they don't present one, we're just happily playing a Furnace. Taking it from there. Okay, no dork, it is Treetop Village. We got a Smother ready to roll, we'll take that. Fyndhorn Elves, yep. And Pasp representing Lightning Bolt. Okay, the Rack, huh? That's interesting. Yeah, I think we do Charm. I kind of like Ravenous Rats here too, but I think we do Charm. And then just play the Rack. Kind of hard to go wrong with this. Now, if we hit the 3rd land on curve, we'll really be rocking and rolling. If we don't, of course, that's the biggest fail rate we have at this point. Fires of Yavimaya, got it. Alright, activate the Furnace, I guess. Got Duress, okay. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think I'm actually supposed to use this here. It could whiff. I think it's relatively likely that it hits. So if it does hit, that's the main reason to use it, is just before it goes bad, so to speak. And yeah, Sylvan Library Saproling Burst, a couple of very high-impact cards. Yeah. Haha. They're both extremely high impact. I gotta take the library and hope to find a way to deal with the burst before they can get it down. So we're going to take the library, and we're going to cantrip right away because we need to hit a land. And we do, and it's Treetop Village, so we are kind of maximally rewarded, I think, for that sequencing. Now we do have the rats rolled up, so that is one realistic way to answer Saproling Burst. Their Rishadan Port's going to be really annoying. because it gives them something to do if they have nothing better to do. And with us being a little, obviously, clunked up here, it's going to be high impact. Then again, they also have the incentive to attack with Treetop, and they also have a draw for turn that we don't know about. Lots to consider. They will be attacking. Our best draw for turn's probably some kind of an untapped land, I guess. Or, nah, it might just be like discard for the burst. Alright, so we get the untapped land we wanted. Probably gotta go rats here. See if they pitch that Saproling Burst, and then maybe decide what to do based on that. Alright, they pitch a 5th land, so the rats were really good there. Either way. Yeah, I think we're holding up Smother here. Yeah, tough call. Kinda wanted to play Furnace. Alright, Treetop Village, sure. Please attack. They're attacking. Beautiful. Love it. Love it. It's way better for us than just tapping, or passing and tapping us down with port. Alright, so we are rewarded for sure now because they did attack. Well, you could argue that it was pretty punishing, of course, if they didn't. Still no out to the burst right now, but they need to find the 5th land, right? So it's not as urgent. We now are on the front foot in a few different ways. We get to chip in with the rats, we get to do 2 with the rack, we get to play an elephant and a furnace, and activate the furnace and hold up the activation. It's going to be a really good turn. Alright, they do have the 5th land, unfortunately. 'Twas the draw for turn. Alright, they're making a couple dudes. Making 3 dudes. Attacking with all 3. So we take 12. We take 14, then we're dead to bolts or Treetop Village. But throwing away an elephant kind of seems bad here. So I think we take it. Have to play very defensively from here. You know, I should have cracked Furnace first, actually, to see what we could see. To see what we're looking at for the first of our 2 draws. We got the rack. Okay. Well. Alright, so the rack is a crazy draw. We do have attacks here. They have combat tricks, though. I think if we just, like, play the rack, play a Call the Herd, and sit back, and, like, not die, then the rack will kill them in 2 turns. The rack was crazy off the top there, holy moly. Amazing. What, do they have another Saproling Burst off the top, though? Oh, no. I didn't really think of that, if that's what they have. I didn't really account for that. They have Blastoderm, yeah, that's a good one. We can at least chump that, though. Yeah, just don't die this turn. But of course the problem is that we will. Yeah, an attacker of that size means we're dead to the Fire's activation. So, jump, block, block. I'll have to look back at this and see, had I attacked and forced them into some blocks, into losing the Saproling token, the Fading tokens a little bit more aggressively, could we have won that one? Maybe. I'll, again, need to look back. I think they needed, like, a high-power attacker off the top, though, to get there, and they sure did have it. So, Should have probably thought about that one a little bit more, but good games well played. We get got in 3 very different but pretty cool games by Fires of Yavimaya. Alright, not much wrong with this hand, my friends, and we're against a Sly or Goblins opponent that has mulled. I think either way we do still lead on Duress. That way we get Cabal Therapy information, even though the Duress will likely whiff if it's Goblins. Of course, if it is Sly, then that's a different story, but Goblins confirmed. Okay, opponents on a hand of Pile Driver, War Chief, Wasteland, and Mountain. There's the Pile Driver and the Mountain. Alright, well, I do think we Therapy here. Ooh, especially because we drew another Therapy, sure. Goblin Warchief and a couple O Wastelands, got it. And we've not exposed a Wasteland target yet. We will next turn, but not before we get a Tempting Worm down. In that sense, it is actually... okay, another Pile Driver, got it. Well, any creature they drew is going to be playable off the Worm anyway, right? So, what can you do? I wonder... No, we'll just play the Worm as is. I was going to say, I wonder if we dig first, but bluffing removal might be live next turn. They may also just kind of wasteland whatever non-creature land we present, but they're going to take a draw step first, right? So we might not be going into next turn with green, though. That is a real possibility. And unfortunately, we do have to just snap off a trade here. Yep, we are getting wastelanded. Alright, now we'll crack Furnace, and with only one other Furnace in the deck to draw to, there's no reason not to. Just activate first, then crack it, untap, so... Alright, Tainted Wood, Treetop Village, Rotting Giant, these are some fine pickups. These are some very, very fine pickups. Interesting call as to which card to play. I think I'm going to go Tainted Wood into Call of the Herd. There is definitely an argument to play Rotting Giant and Treetop Village. It's difficult to know what is best without knowing exactly, of course, what's their one card in hand plus what's coming off the top of their deck in the next few turns, but we are giving them a tension between wastelanding us off green yet again, wastelanding us off of the 4th land now for Call of the Herd, so it might have been interesting to not quite reveal that. Ooh, Gem Palm Incinerator. Ah, I see. Interesting one. And then the Mog Fanatic ping to follow. Yeah, and then we want to consider, okay, what does our next turn look like? But one consideration here is it'll be nice to have Treetop Village when the dust has settled. The one not getting Wasteland if they are indeed wastelanding aggressively. But, so a pretty nice answer to our first elephant token there from OP. However, it's still pretty good value for us. Unfortunately, they have another land and a ringleader, and the land is Port. Yikes, dude. They find another Pile Driver and another ringleader. Yeah, this is a little bit too much for us. We were about to stabilize, now we're not going to get there. You hate to see. But losing game 1 to Goblins is not entirely uncommon. Let's see what we can do post-side. Alright, so 4 Duress out and 7 kill spells / creature hate spells in. We can play Curse Totem. I think with our configuration here, we don't actually need to. I think that's more of a make-weight depending on your build. It's not bad, it's not necessary, right? So, in terms of what else could come out, Honestly, I think I should trim a copy of the rack here. We're playing to answer the board more than to race them, and they can refuel really well. And if we're cutting discard effects in general, the rack gets worse. So, final cut, I mean, we could lose like a painful card advantage engine like Library or Muse. I'm probably leaving both in on the play. I could see trimming one, though. I'll just do the more obvious thing and cut the Phyrexian Furnaces, because all they are low-curve cantrips. Now, do we still want to play with 2 Rack, 2 Specter, 1 Unburden, and 2 Therapy? Is that, and all the rats, is that too much discard? Should we get, like, a Rack back in here, or the Curse Totem in here? I don't mind this configuration on the play. On the draw, we might lower the curve a little bit. Alright. Looks like a solid keep. We're just working our way toward that Engineered Plague and a safe space for the Tempting Worm. It is not incumbent upon us necessarily to Funeral Charm turn 1, so I'm just going to get the Treetop Village down. We're probably not playing Tempting Worm T2, so even if we have to just Charm on T2, that is totally fine. Alright, they play Skirk Prospector, we've got a Call of the Herd. I think we just do nothing and say go if they want to power out something nice and early. That might just play a little bit more into our E-Plague than anything else. Alright, Rishadan Port's a bit annoying, though. It's going to set us off curve a bit. Still think we just stay patient here. Got a Smother. Yeah, that's a fine one. Send it back. Alright, we just take one, they've got nothing. Interesting. So, this makes me want to play Call of the Herd here. They're pretty clearly representing a Naturalize. Got Ravenous Rats too, that would be a fine play. But let's go with the heavy infantry here. This is going to force them to go a little bit wider. Play a little bit out more into the Plague, potentially. And if they don't, if they continue trying to kind of take it slow, well, we've got a good proactive play of the Rats. We've got, you know, just an accumulation of resources, and we'll be developing a board advantage. There is kind of a funny world in which you might work your way up to playing Worm and E-Plague on the same turn. That is at least a possibility. But it does look like they're going to go for something here in the main phase. See what it is. Okay, a Pile Driver and then a Tormod's Crypt taking care of the back half. And still, you know, still a good card advantage for us, but... Alright. And we'll see. They don't port, huh? So we could try Worm into Plague this turn, and that would be absolutely hilarious. But it's probably a little better to just deplete their hand in a more traditional way since we have access to those effects, right? So we'll open up on a Ravenous Rat, see what they pitch. And I'm going to be pretty happy to just spend the rest of the turn smothering a Pile Driver at the opportune time, and potentially using a Funeral Charm as well. Tranquil Domain gets knocked out of their hand, that's a good one. Alright, here's a 3-3 attacking you. What do you do? What do you do when the 3-3 attacks you? Alright, in response to the tap down, I will just smother. Alright, OP's got a Wasteland. Definitely still a little bit worried about these types of effects. So now maybe I think we're just going to Funeral Charm on the end step. It's not my favorite use case for sure, this card, but we might knock another Naturalize effect out of there. If we draw an untapped land, we'll have the choice probably between Worm and Plague, because they're probably not going to let us have green this turn with Rishadan Port. Alright, they're going to Pyrokinesis in response. Wow. Got it. Yeah, that's pretty good, but they are Hellbent. So now we'll see if they let us have green or not. They sure don't. Yeah, that makes sense. But we draw it anyway. Let's go. So perfect time, of course, for a Worm. Pretty easily got this one wrapped up, I think, with Worm just radically outsizing whatever they're going to come up with and Engineered Plague preventing the worst of what they can put together from here. From sticking and from being maximally relevant. Looks like they rip Siege Gang Commander for turn, which is an incredible draw, but again, we've got the Plague rolled up, so thankfully got Curse Scroll as well. Beauty. That's the concession. They don't even see the scroll. Love to see that one. So, on the draw, the likes of Hippie and Unburden definitely get worse. I'm going to at least trim one Hippie. It's a little bit of a non-bow with Infest. It's just kind of like a body that can trade. I want to maybe put the Rack back in a little better, potentially, on the draw in this particular matchup, because it's not as much about racing as it is about resources. And you know, I should have sided out the Naturalize, most likely, so I think getting Curse Totem in for Naturalize is good. So we'll go ahead and do that. Could definitely just be content there. Yeah, this is a one-lander with a bunch of high curve stuff. We gotta throw it back. And it's a no-lander. Down to 5. Alright. This would have been a really, really respectable 7. As it is, we've got to... Yeah, we'll bottom Swamp. It's gotta be Ravenous Rats, right? Like, we need the Funeral Charm, we need the Call of the Herd. We're so soft this way to, I mean, it feels back to throw any of our 2-for-1s, and Rats is clearly a 2-for-1. But... Alright, Engineered Plague. So, a little bit of hope here for us on the Malta 5. But yeah, we had to keep the answer to turn 1 Lackey. Thankfully, we did. But yeah, Rats is a pretty good card in this matchup in your opening hand, I'd say. It feels bad to throw that one back, especially because it's a little bit of a potential, you know, way to unmaul. It's a virtual, sometimes literal 2-for-1. And hey, there we go, we've got him. Not sure we play him, though. We're going to go Treetop Village and pass. They might be sitting on a Wasteland here. We just got to get that Call of the Herd going. They're cycling a Gem Palm Incinerator, which is a good way to handle the Rats on a lot of board states, get back to parity. They only have a 2-lander, so they're not sitting on a Wasteland at all. You'll love to see that one. Yeah, let's get our Call of the Herd down. We're hanging on to the E-Plague for a little bit here. They're just going to pyrokinesis before they even untap. Exiling a Goblin Ringleader. This is incredible value for us. Yeah, they got a Goblin Warchief now. They got Wasteland as well, so they're doing some good stuff. But, once again, just kind of incredible value. Hypno. Not that exciting. So I'm inclined to use the rats before they are no longer live, because the Warchief could help them dump out their hand, but I think it's better to just flashback Call of the Herd while we have the guaranteed 4th land. They might end up wastelanding sooner rather than later. And no matter which land they hit, our whole hand is castable at least one at a time. Plus, like I said, if, like I was going to say, rather, they can certainly refuel, even if they're low now, but that Ringleader's a huge whiff. Oh, boy. Okay. That's pretty awesome for us, needless to say. They've got 2 lands, a Tranquil Domain, and Naturalize. All going to the bottom. So, and we drew a Swamp for turn, which is totally good. We'll begin with the Ravenous Rats. We get a Mog Fanatic out of there, then I think we're actually supposed to play Hippie. Hanging on to the E-Plague for quite a while here, but that's fine. And while the Elephant attack is live, I think it is better in this case to stay back, because the Hippie is going to be like a free attacker while we stall the ground. So unless they can come up with a good out to that, we're rewarded for being a little bit more stalemate-oriented with the Elephant. Well, they've got another Ringleader. This one's definitely hitting a little bit better. They get Incinerator and Pile Driver. Still, 2 draws off of 2 Ringleaders are really not bad at all for us. And now we have, of course, the Hippie able to knock one of them out, hopefully, or the one unknown in hand. Plus Call of the Herd? Okay, sweet. Alright, Hippie takes care of the Incinerator. That is a nice one. Yeah, I think I actually just like playing Call of the Herd here. Like, it's getting a little sketchy to do that, actually. Because, like, if they have a totally nuts turn, now with everything having haste, I guess they could actually kind of wreck us here. So maybe 1 Elephant is enough. I'm gonna finally play my Engineered Plague. This could end up being wrong. I'm just getting a little bit twitchy about how wide their board is getting, and I know they have a Pile Driver, obviously, in hand. So my instinct here was to play Call of the Herd. We'll see if it ends up being correct or not, but yeah, they obviously get to ping in response. But this just makes it a lot less likely that we die before our plan fully takes form, I guess, that we die to a nut draw this turn. Now, the alternative is that if they've been sitting on some kind of out to the plague, that could be alive, but they would need to have drawn a Greenland. They have not. Looks like it was a mountain for turn. And I wonder what that means in respect to their hand, because remember, they have the Warchief reducing costs here. We know they have a Pile Driver in hand. They have the Wasteland consideration. You would think that in some cases a mountain would be, like, something to hold in hand to hope the Hippie knocks it out instead of something more relevant, but maybe they can just dump the whole hand here. Interesting. Sending in the Ringleaders, but not the Warchief. Of course, Pile Driver gets in as well. Yep, we're taking the trade. And we're taking 2. The Wasteland the Treetop. Swamp for turn, not very good, but we will hold that in hand to conceal info. And yeah, I am going to attack with Hippie this turn. It's not a given that we should. He's a very good blocker against their board, but with the Call of the Herd coming, let's just get that last card out of their hand. It looks like they had some kind of tension in terms of what to do. And it was a Tranquil Domain, so I'd say rewarded. As mentioned, it's something that we thought was relatively likely. So now, they're not probably going to beat the Plague, right? Because they need to still find another out to it after having lost that one and put another 2 to the bottom. And they still don't have a green land, although now they do because that was their draw for turn, but still, that's good for us. We got Smother as well. Beautiful stuff, beautiful stuff. Alright, call this an optimistic play, but I like all-inning here, and then just flashing back. By no means do we have to. Goblin King. That's a nice draw. Good thing we're not Jund and not providing Mountain Walk, right? So it's a nice draw, but they don't really have great attacks regardless. Their blocks are much better now, but we can blow that out big time with Smother, and we have Tempting Worm? Dude, let's go. Oh, man, oh, man. All right. So I think attacking with 1 here is just fine. You could definitely all in a little bit more, but they're probably going to at least double block the Elephant. If we smother the Goblin King, we get the blowout. And that'll just be the concession, most likely, but we have the Tempting Worm following up if it's not. What a display, guys. This is really showing the power of our deck in terms of the big bodies. The big bodies, even the Rotting Giant in Game 1, but the Calls of the Herd, the Tempting Worms, alongside all of our depletion, Engineered Plague going really, really good there, obviously, for us as well. Right place, right time, right? But yeah, great stuff. Love to take down Goblins after losing Game 1. Good times, good times. Alright guys, that was our first run out with Hypnotic Worm. I would say the deck felt really coherent, really strong overall. I would say we got like a modest amount of action out of Hippie. I don't really remember feeling punished for seeing Hippie. It's just that, like, we didn't draw him all that much, but we definitely got some good mileage out of him when we did. I think the balance of lands to spells and the balance of the curve and the balance of threats to interaction, Hippie as a 2-of in the context of the changes that I went over, perhaps at too much length in the intro/deck tech, I think Hippie feels pretty good here. Again, this is not a permanent pivot to saying that Hippie should now always be in Wurmrock, but if we want to test him, I think this shell felt pretty good. I think it felt good enough for me to run back without any changes, so that'll be the plan. Of course I want to hear your feedback, but maybe we get a little bit of a bigger sample size, right? Maybe we play another video with this exact 75 before we make any changes. So let me know, of course, though, what you guys do think, and we'll see you again for much more pre-modern gameplay, including what will be a run back of, again, this exact 75. Thank you so much, guys, for being here. Thank you to anybody supporting the content. Mana Pool, Mana Traders, Patreon, and more, all in the description below. Thank you so much, and I'll see you soon.